Yeah, I've been hello and welcome to Big Sky 35 Live. I'm gonna do it for my man Natsman for the Dirty South, Winston-Salem, North Carolina. Glad to have Mrs. saying she's always waiting on the men folk. Uh, Glad you're on here watching because I will be bringing her up to a little bit tonight. Because it's when it comes to the national, and we'll get into the national later. Y'all come as a tandem, and it's awesome. And we'll get into a little bit of that a little later. Or a lot of things y'all do come as a tandem, but most people don't know about it. How you doing, Amari, tonight? Great to see you guys. And I promoted this one a little bit more than some in the past because I have respect for everybody I have on, but I know Bobbles and what we're going to talk about is good. First off, Bobbles, there's somebody running around with another name. Seems like they're crossing over and doing a lot of things you're doing. Or do you want to talk a little bit about that and what other things you're getting into, sir?
I started another channel. It's nothing. It believe me, guys. People asked me if I was going to do it on the same channel, and I didn't want to. As y'all know, the hobby and the content space in the hobby can be a little dramatic at times, and I like doing YouTube to have fun. And this allowed me to kind of branch outside of that realm and just do something different. And so that's all I've been doing over there. It's just been fun. I think I got like 45 subscribers, and that's perfectly fine. It's a lot of fun, but it also keeps me motivated in doing what I'm doing. If those don't know, I've always sold on eBay. I mean, Mike sells on eBay. Uh, he has a massive store doing cards and everything. But beginning of the year, I wanted to try something and mix in something else with cards, and so I started doing everything, and just started doing basically full blown reselling, and it's been a hell of a lot of fun. It's a lot of work, but it's a lot of fun. So
that's awesome. Yeah, and it's been you text us with some of the crazy stuff that you get, and some of the crazy items that you wouldn't think, like hats, the nostalgia for certain things that are out there. Telling us about kilts and everything else you're doing. I don't know if you saw those
yet.
From Battery. Battery says you can't see it on camera, but he's wearing a kilt.
No, they see me before the live. I do not have a kilt on.
Right. Yeah. So Mrs. Bobbles letting us know that the 57 days to hotel check-in for the national, which is awesome. Like I said, we'll get into that in a little bit. But my first thing I kind of want to get into with you two guys, we have two guys that have great rapport, great respect in the hobby and in life. I just want to. Did you ever? I watched most of Carlos, but did you ever hop on with Carlos and them Friday night, Bobbles?
Past Friday, I was on for.
I think
I don't remember what time. I got on for maybe from like 9:30 to 11:30 or something like that.
Okay, because they were talking a lot in the first part about the PWCC and being bought out by Fanatics, and it's brought up this big thing, and it carried on a couple other podcasts and other things across different social medias of Fanatics being a monopoly, and I don't understand that because
Prison monopoly.
Fanatics.
Prison monopoly.
Yeah, yeah. Prism monopoly, right? But Fanatics was a monopoly because they bought Tops, not because they bought PWCC. Tops was a monopoly because they had baseball rights, but not all monopolies are created the same, right? Like there's good ones, there can be good ones, it can be bad. We complained so many years about Tops and Prism uh, that somebody else comes along that might be able to fix it. We don't want to give them a chance, and we start screaming all these buzzwords that I think it's just trying to create something that's not there. But how does buying PWCC create a monopoly when there's other companies out there doing what PWCC does?
So, are you asking for my opinion or Mike's or
Or
both? Or
anybody, anything to kind of clear, because Victor had a thing on, and I'm going to name drop. Love Victor, can't wait to see him at the show. With Cardfather, what's his face for Burbank, in his Instagram thing, talking about how
Rob?
people, right, is this, and only people I hear that it's a monopoly is the people that are defending it. I don't really know what they're defending and how it's, because I don't see a monopoly outside as they got the rights to baseball and nobody else does at the moment.
I don't think buying PWCC makes them a monopoly. I think it's more along the lines of people seeing as part of the process of them building a monopoly. You know, they have the rights to baseball, they have the rights to Tops, obviously now, and I think the assumption is that at some point they will have the rights to Panini potentially. If not Panini, then the sports that Panini produces, buying up, these selling platforms. They're going to do Fanatics Live, try and take away, some of the YouTube stuff. Obviously, PWCC might be part of the plan to take away a share of eBay. And then, of course, there's been talk about grading companies and this and that. And I think it's more,
But if you
them
get one
buying up
piece,
and trying to control as much as possible, which
right,
obviously they want to do.
control and the monopoly are two different things, right? Because Walmart owns a lot of different pieces, but it's not a monopoly of any one piece, right? So that's where I was just kind of wondering, because it kind of had me scratching my head yesterday and really thinking about it today, like where people are coming up with this. And I was like, I'm going to bring this up tomorrow first thing, and maybe I'm just overthinking it. I don't know, but I'm eager to see what Fanatics is going to do, right? I want to be able to open up a pack and think most of my cards are going to be centered and not be scratched up and have the product available. They are, I know one thing, they are the way they're using the website and making like it an event when they made a series 2 pre-orders and things like that, an event kind of. I think they're doing a little bit better marketing. I think they go further, but what do you think, Bobbles, about them being a monopoly?
So I don't. They have somewhat of a monopoly on the licenses because obviously they have full control of baseball and the MLBPA. So it's not even like if Panini hung around, they could do the pajama cards because
Thank
the
you.
players
Yeah.
are licensed. You have, then they're going to have the NFL same way and then NBA same way. So in that sense, they're going to control all of that. Now, as far as the PWCC space, or if they get a grading space or whatever, that's going to be to be determined of how far they want to push the envelope. Because something I thought about, and I don't think they would take it to the extreme, but getting, obviously I mentioned I'm doing the reselling thing, and there's a long list on eBay, and it's not pushed too badly, but there's these things called Veros, where companies can actually request eBay, and is forced to remove items that you sell on eBay. That is, and again, I don't think Fanatics would do something like that. But if they really wanted to be an ass, they could kind of try to push all of that market share over to their own platform if they
Right.
wanted to. And that could also, take away a lot of the other platforms. If they had a grading company, is there any sort of regulation to say you can't send a PSA? I don't know that there would be,
Right.
but my only concern is, and you guys might agree, I think one of the best times, and it was kind of the companies were forced into it after, the whole junk wax, and I know people don't like that term, but the late 90s was when I think sports cards got into a creative element that we haven't seen really since that time period. And they're trying to bring some of those inserts and stuff back today, but they don't look nowhere near as good as those. If you have just fanatics
No etching.
creating everything, what's going to force them to be creative? Like, they can basically throw the product out there and you buy it or you don't, and you have no other options. So that's my biggest concern, and the pricing. It's you buy it or you don't, on the
Right.
pricing.
Well, I think I noticed something they did this week, and Topps used to do it kind of in the back, but they released with the Heritage this week, but they also released a hobby shop or online exclusive as well, as in was it Museum or whatever? Was it Museum?
They took pre-orders for Tribute.
Tribute, right? So
come on.
So that is the doubling up like that kind of hits your whole market space. Heritage is for everyone, and then you got your Tribute at $400 or some dollars. I don't know who's buying that now. At $400 or some dollars, and the Sapphire Topps Star Wars that got sold this week at $200. Because Sapphire, to me, now I know I'm probably overthinking it.
What the fuck?
We can hear you, Mike. we but I don't care about that. But to me, Sapphire is one of those products that people buy and put it in their closet. Right? It seems like there's something.
I ripped mine.
I'm glad, and you know what? Nats man hit me up, I don't know, earlier this year about a Sapphire. He goes, do I open it or do I leave it closed? And I said, open it. Is it a closed box? Then it was meant to be open, right? That's the way I feel. When did our hobby become collecting boxes or packs? I do have some sealed packs that the cellos that I have graded because it's some of my favorite PC, Gary Carter, guys like that. But I don't do it. I don't buy boxes because to me, we're selling boxes at this price of the hope of hitting this one of one card or this low. Are you ready, Mike? Give me a thumbs up. All right, buddy.
God forbid you get some steps in, Wi-Fi world just doesn't want to work. Now I'm not going to be ready for the national.
We're buying these boxes, and I feel bad for especially football and basketball guys with the potential of buying this one of one or the chase of some card that's going to be so hard to hit. It's impossible, and they buy the box. I haven't understood it, and that's the only thing that I feel needs to come back. Baseball's come back a little bit. The other sports have come back a little bit. But, man, when I saw that Tribute wasn't always over $400, was it? I could have sworn back in the day it was like $250.
Yeah, I'm sure, like everything. But also stuff like Heritage was probably like $50 a box at one point. So
I think I was buying it around that same time at like 70 or 80. $69.
I'm talking about years and years ago, I guess.
But yeah.
Tribute, I think, used to be a couple hundred. The last couple of years, I'm sure it pushed $350 at least.
Yes, I can remember buying a Tribute. I used to buy a box, but I'm not buying it at $400.
I've never broken Tribute. I looked at the pre-sale, but to me, it's a cool product. It's a buy singles product. I thought about buying a box to break, just to sell, even if you don't make money, just to I don't know, have something new and fancy to draw attention, but the odds are so in favor of you losing like hundreds of dollars that I decided not to. Um, but I mean, Fanatics, they're not going to be cheap. They're never cheap. If you go on their website looking at jerseys and T-shirts, like they're not.
But
Hats.
if you're
Unless
buying
you're
a
getting
box,
stuff, if you're getting
right,
stuff on clearance from them, you can get some good deals. Like they'll clear stuff out, but like
right.
it's
Well, I mean, New
a
Era
name.
hats. Jesus, they've gone up $20 in the last 2 years.
Yeah, that's all. That's even like player T-shirts. I think back to
Right.
like, I'm thinking like the Phillies glory days, 07, 08. Like you can get them for like $10,
Right.
15 maybe, and now it's like 35, 40 for a freaking T-shirt. Like,
Well, Bobbles, do you think at a $400 price point, opening that box, you're automatically losing it? Wouldn't you be better off to hold on to the box and resell it at a higher price point later? At this point, are we buying new boxes to sell later?
I mean, last year's tribute does go for about $520 to $550. So, I don't know what rookies are in that.
Right.
I guess that's the gamble with that. Breaking it is a loss, but of course, gamblers are hoping to get that Otani numbered to 5 or something like that.
So, what's your thoughts on that, Bobbles?
Well, like Mike said, last year's product, you had a good rookie class. You had Julio, Witt, Torkelson. I don't know if Michael Harris. I don't know if he would. I don't think he would be in that one.
He's a rookie this year.
Yeah. So, but comparing the two, you would have to compare the two classes and figure out, which one is going to be there. You're also playing the game of who else. How many other people are holding the same thing, right? If a bunch of people play this holding the box and resale game, the market's going to draw back down again because the supply is still going to be high on it. So that would eventually fold some and not have as high margins. The Sapphire thing, like you mentioned, I showed you. I tried to order a box of Sapphire this year of Star Wars, and it kept giving me an error message on Montgomery Club. So I didn't even get my Montgomery box, but it is what it is. Me and her were actually talking earlier. I haven't bought much wax, even retail, because it's and I know it's not just about the dollar value, but like you guys, you both just said, you're likely losing opening that box. And there's so many other ways to spend money to have fun without having that gut wrench that you're immediately losing money. And when you're talking $400, that's a chunk of change to be like, yeah, I'm just gonna burn this today,
Right.
And with a product like Tribute, it's kind of all or nothing. You're only getting a handful of base cards. At least the other products, like certain products like Tops or Heritage, you at least can make something up on. You're getting a volume of cards that do have some value, even though some influencers would like to tell you that base is trash. Like that's not really true.
Yeah, and not at all.
It's becoming more, I guess, for I don't know the term to use, average person, average collector, whatever. It's becoming more and more a singles game, like playing the singles market, buying singles, and the wax itself is, let the breakers.
Yeah, we gotta have the breakers break more and more.
Let the breakers put the product, into the hands of folks who are going to sell it to make more money to break more, and then that hits the open market for the collectors to buy the singles they want or whatever. And that's basically the life cycle of what the hobby is becoming.
I do think I don't know a ton about it, but from what I understand, Bowman Sapphire this year, they actually reduced overall the number of boxes. They reduced, how much they made. They did jack up the price quite a bit, but I think you get 3 parallels and a couple autographs per box, so there's actually decent value. So if they do things like that, then it's like paying $375 for a box of that. Maybe you could stomach because you at least get something out of it, the color parallels, autographs, if you're figuring $10 a piece on those, at least you're getting $50 plus base cards. I mean, you're still getting bombed, but
here's one to ask you guys. So, and you can, the audience can chime in on this too. So, on the Star Wars Sapphire, they included something that maybe this was a test run to see the acceptance of it, but they included redemptions of graded copies of the original. Was it Return of the Jedi? I believe it was. From seven or not 70. Was it 84? That set.
80,
I can't remember.
Was the movie, so I thought usually their cards came out right around the same time.
Yeah, it was the original set. There's redemptions in there for graded copies of the original cards.
Yeah.
Do you think that would be intriguing to folks? Like, I don't know how they would move it over into sports cards. Like, unless it was Heritage, you get like a graded original 76 card or something like that. But
right.
Do you think that would be intriguing to do it that way? Because people have talked
that
about
would. I think that'd be definitely intriguing, Bobbles. To tell you the truth. One sec. Hey, Dave. I left another message on your Instagram. If you want to check that out, hopefully you can get back and we can chat a little bit. They have had a, I don't know about a buyback or whatever that what we're talking about. What are they doing? Like you send it scratch off and
it's a redemption card.
Redemption card.
Yep.
Because they had them before where they've had them packaged with graded cards a long time ago. But I don't think that's a bad thing, and I wouldn't imagine not being too far from Fanatics doing something like that. I just think Fanatics is thinking in different ways, like you're bringing up right now, that Topps haven't, because Topps was still running like it was a candy company. Fanatics is coming in as a business, a full-scale, multi-level business. So,
well, I'm still going to complain about Topps and their redemptions. I know people hound on Panini and the way they handle theirs. I'm still waiting.
Yeah, I know. You talked about it.
I still have redemptions from 2021 Bowman Draft, 2022 Series 1. I have several redemptions, and I can't.
I have two that I've asked for replacements 5 years ago, and I haven't seen anything. So whoever lives in my old house might have them, but I did never see them.
Still waiting on 3 from Yadi Molina from 2018.
I'm waiting on Wander
to get graded with Makadas,
who signed tons of stuff.
What? Oh, Frank. Yeah, Wander. Yeah, that's a crazy story, and I remember that playing out like it was. And me and you talking about it. I didn't know you're still waiting on that, and how they and what happened during that. That was kind of crazy. But with that, I don't want to. I'm not trying to bash Fanatics. I'm not trying to say they are going to be an, because I am looking forward to what the future's holding. I'm trying to be optimistic. I don't think they're ever going to buy Panini because Panini's just too international. They have soccer, they have wrestling. They need what they have in their names to their cards. They want to keep Prism. They want to keep all those different types of cards in their library. So I just that's how I kind of I feel like let's wait and see. I just think Fanatics is going to try to have their hand in every cookie jar out there trying to get that money back. And I mean, I think they overpaid, and they got to get that money back somehow. Can you take, what is Ziggy asking here? How are you doing tonight, Ziggy? Can you take a redemption to in a person signing? I'm sure you can. They can sign on a redemption. I never said I never seen where it wouldn't. As long as it's you don't take it to Nolan Ryan and it's him beating up what's his face. He'll sign anything other than that. That's probably the only thing the triplets won't sign certain things. So for the Dallas
Bo Jackson
Cowboys.
won't sign his 90 scorecard.
He won't?
Mm-mm.
I know Lenny Dykstra will sign anything, and he will write anything on it that you want. You give him an extra $5, he will write F this person, F that person, go this person. He will do whatever you want.
Do you have a collection of Lenny Dykstra inscriptions?
I do not, but I've seen it done at some local shows. That guy does not care. Anything for $1 or $2.
So now we're right at the halfway mark. Any other closing remarks on Fanatics box prices? I think even I have turned to, I'm with the missus. Me and her ripped some last year at the National. I love ripping. That's what I grew up on, buying packs, boxes when I got older. I do have a box of Topps Chrome that I got my LCS held for me. They actually had it at at 150 where Topps was selling it. I got a box of Heritage. So I got enough packs. I open up 1 pack a day to help my shakes. I get the shakes. So I got enough to open for probably the rest of the summer and then some. So I'm good for a while. I just wait for somebody else that's in here to open up their stuff, and then I buy his singles. Ain't that right, Battery? If you're still in here, me and him were on we got the Myco buy his stuff program. Luckily, I'm a Mets fan, he's a Braves fan, so we can
Top Series 2 in 10 days.
Yeah, that is early. Somebody remarked that's early, right?
It's around, well, it's early for probably the last couple of years, but it is around what it used to be because I
thought it was in June, later in June. Well, that'd be 10 days, right?
Well, the Phillies ALS Festival that they used to always do, a charity event pre-pandemic, Top Series 2 usually came out like literally the day of or the day before. It seemed to always be in that because I'd always try and grab a few cards from that to get signed. But this is years ago. But the last couple of years, I think it's been like late June, maybe even July one year. So that
around the All-Star break.
That seems like it's gotten a little back on track from at least back in the day. But then again, when they've only released 3-4 products,
Yeah, I know. I'm trying to think because usually when I go to the National before the pandemic, I think like baseball museum is out, and what other retail just come out? Not Archives, because that comes out a little later. It'd be something else.
Archives used to be an early year product, and then it became a late year product. I mean, years ago, the last few years, it's been really late.
2019 was released June 12th, so about 1 month before All-Star break.
Yeah, this is Mrs. Bobbles says the awesome thing about having a house is all of us together. I'm looking forward to this year, but I miss hanging out with everyone around the table, opening packs, chatting, etc. Well, Mrs., we can just do it at a different venue and not in a house. That's all we got to do. Gypsy Queen, thank you, Amari. Yes, Amari's on the ball. That we got Sean in his soccer. I have to say let you take the lead on that. Look at that. I bought a box of 88 Don Ross. I'm surprised you found it for $20, Carlisle, to tell you the truth. With Dale Murphy smiling back at me. Yeah, I was picking those boxes up before pandemic cheap, and then once pandemic hit, all of them, even like 90 Don Ross went up.
It's legitimately gotten so much harder to find. It used to be one of those things you could find it, constantly.
Yeah, because I like picking up the 89 Fleer. I try to find a clean box, and I just never could. And not because of Ken Griffey or anything like that, but Gary Carter is the cover boy on that box. So, when I moved, my one box that I had, empty box, got demolished. So, but anyway,
They got to bring back the cards on the bottom of the box. I miss those.
Yes, yes. And see how steady your hand can be to cut it. Now, is that cutting or is that trimming?
I don't know. If I got one in the future, I would send it to Evan Mathis and be like, "Yo, can I get a clean copy?"
Hey, get this cut for me. But so this year at the National, last year we had a house of 8 people, Bobbles, around this number.
Mm,
Did we have 10?
I think it was 8. Yeah,
8,
I think it was 8 or 9.
Right.
Yeah,
And
yeah, it was 9 because the one dude took the little cot thing in the hallway closet.
right.
Yeah, Rob.
Yeah. And he probably had the best sleeping spots, probably the quietest one. He didn't have to wake up snoring. Mike was in a house of 6 people, Mike, last year?
Believe so. I believe that
Right.
is correct.
No, we had 11. It was 11 people.
Oh, we had 11? I'm sure Mrs. said it was 11.
It was 11, yeah.
All right. So, so this year, it's a little bit different scenario. We're in Chicago. Hotels aplenty, supposedly.
In the past, it was.
Right. This year, y'all, let me get this right, Bobbles. Y'all got a hall, basically, right? At a hotel? Did y'all get like...
She knows more about it because she handled all of it, but she reserved a block of rooms at a hotel through, I believe, the National themselves.
Okay, so, well, that's y'all good. Are y'all within walking distance then? Are y'all across the street or?
I think it's a little bit away. I don't think it's like too far away, but I don't think it's walking distance. She knows all of that because she handled all of that.
Right. That's why I'm glad that she was on here. I know that from last year. She goes, well, both of y'all just go way above and beyond with generosity with that. We're 2 miles away. Okay. So we're a mile away. We actually have an Airbnb. We had to break down and just do that, which is actually not too bad. She's a genius. Hey, Orlando. But so we're about a mile away, but
right down by the pizza place, from what I understand, which we're going to go to anyway. So saves us one trip.
At least one trip. But we'll probably park the car and keep it up at the car, at the car lot, and just make the rounds after the show or whatever. Because everything's going to be right there. Everybody hangs out at right across the street. That's what I was telling Mrs. Bobbles. It's just everybody kind of just hangs out. It don't matter. It'll be a group of people anywhere you go to sit down. That's what a little bit different than Atlantic City. Atlantic City, everybody broke up and went back to where they were staying, it seemed like. Then they tried to meet up at night. Just, to me, it didn't work out as well. This year might work, hopefully be better. The tables, I keep bringing up how many, I can't get over how many vendors are going to be at this. And I'm going to ask every one of the people that come on my show, Bobbles, is there such thing as having too many vendors at a show?
I was shocked when they said they had added, I think it was like 33% more space, because I had seen a map like several months ago of it, and I was like, it was a lot already. And I talked last year how I didn't really care for all of the, the commercialized stuff, the corporate stuff. I wish it was in its own area, and then you had the dealers and stuff in their own area. But I get it, without the corporate stuff, there is no National, I guess, really.
Because it is a convention. It's called it's a convention, so we got to have that part.
You're not going to see it all anyway. So
no.
I mean, I guess just adding more just is more that you're going to miss when it gets down to it. So
sadly,
hopefully more opportunity for value boxes.
I was going to say, you might get some more value boxes, which could be a good thing. I think you will. I just suspect it's going to be, the additions will be mostly
corporate.
Well, they might add some corporate stuff for sure.
There is going to be more
but I
corporate.
think, but in terms of dealers, like I would think it'd be more lower level dealers, more localized dealers. That's I wowould guess. So
Well,
you're going to have a lot more ultra modern type of stuff, but who knows? Maybe
I'm
not.
hoping it's more diverse in the because at Atlantic City, I only found 2 tables of hockey. I'm not a huge hockey collector by any means. There was only a handful of non-sport people, and and at some tables they had some. I think Bobbles. I think you're even in the same way. You like to find different things out there that might not be in the sports world, even in the vintage area of non-sport. I'm hoping there's more of that. That's what's got me intrigued right now as a collector is some of that stuff. I don't hide it. I've started leaning more to some non-sports. But that's what I'm hoping for at this year. Will it happen? Will we get just more modern day basketball? I don't know. Maybe the scholarship could tell us. I don't know.
Probably football.
It is a heavy football area. When I lived in Iowa, but before I left Iowa, it switched over to basketball before I moved. But because the whole country is when COVID hit, basketball became the trading. Mike said it last week. It might have been our discussion after the show. We think baseball is still the number one collected item in the hobby. But when it comes to the flipping and what gets the eyes and all of that is the modern day basketball. What gets the young kids and the newer people juices flowing is the basketball. So you'll see a lot of basketball when you go to these shows. But when you go in that first room, you're going to see a lot of vintage baseball.
Do you still think it's basketball? Because it's felt like over the last 2 years, it's shifted to football with the heavy quarterback guys like Burrow and Herbert and those guys. And just real quick, because I can't remember. Bad memory. But does anybody remember or have one of those pricing tools that could look up and see what a Luka Doncic Prism Silver PSA 9 sold for around November, December timeframe of 2019? Because I had one and I sold it, and I'm pretty certain I got either 9 or 1,200 for it. Then I can't remember exactly.
Probably did. Now it only goes.
It's under $400 now.
It's under 400.
That is hysterical.
Yeah, and I'm not saying that the prices are still gigantic. And that's the other problem with that. Not the problem, but the thing with the newer people and the new stuff is what's the next shiny object, right? What's the next thing? In baseball, a lot of what's that?
He's gonna be big. That Victor Wembanyama kid.
Yeah,
he could propel basketball again.
Yeah, he's gonna. I feel bad for him because I tell you, if he's not the next whoever they're saying he's going to be, he's going to fall short. Man, that kid ain't going to have a chance with as soon as they can, with the hype that guy's getting. Even I'm hearing about it, and I can care less about basketball. But as a collector and a hobby, I still keep an eye out to it. It just seems like because a lot of my friends and the younger people that are my friends or kids that come up to me, most of them are talking about basketball, and they'll have some football. The Burrows, all of those guys. You're right. It's pretty big. I just think some people got burnt in all of it, but the football quarterbacks, as long as they stay healthy, I think the money probably sticks with them a little bit more. But I just we'll see when it comes. It's interesting when we go there because it still is. Atlantic City was a lot of vintage baseball. There's going to be a lot of vintage baseball at this show. It always is, but it added so much. If you're saying 33% more or whatever, and it's modern, that's going to overwhelm the vintage baseball.
Just wear your sunglasses. It'll be a lot of shine.
Yeah, and it's going to be a lot of tables that's going to be easy for me to skip over. So that's like Zion and you can go on and on. And I think a lot of them in baseball, you don't have that immediate like, oh, I'm going to get a first card or rookie card, and that guy's immediate. It's a lot of times you got to sit around and kind of wait. I talked about it. What 20 was it? The 21 rookie class in baseball was not that great. It had like Cronenworth and all of those guys in it. Well, a lot of them now are starting to pick up the pace a little bit. So a lot of people might have dumped that stuff. You might want to stick. Cronenworth's not having a great year. I collected him, but I'm going to be.
Yeah, Dylan Carlson and a few other names in there that were
right. And I think this year's group. What's that?
I said I hated that product, 2021 Topps.
Yeah, that was the year. Oh,
I couldn't read the names. I hated opening it.
I forgot to mention this with Topps. I looked at the checklist for Series 2. Yeah, I got to say this. I want to say kudos to Topps because the last 2 years they were holding back on rookie players. They're not this year. Series 2
has at least like 10 really good rookies in it.
Right. They have put the rook. They're not waiting to put them in the Series 3 or wait until next year. I started looking. I mean, if the big rookie wasn't in the Series 1, it's in Series 2. And I think the pre-order price is kind of reflecting that a little bit. But because this year's rookie class is not terrible. But there's no players right now in Major League Baseball that are just jumping out and saying, look at me anyway. Everybody's kind of just doing their thing. Other than my man Pete, I mean, he's on pace to hit 61 home runs.
I was going to say, he hit his 20th today, didn't he?
Yeah. Yep. But they lost 11 to 10. So.
Yeah, I recognized when I looked at my fantasy lineup.
I still kind of wish Topps or Fanatics would kind of adopt what Upper Deck does with Young Guns.
Yes.
And
they have to be on the ice before they can be in the product.
Well, not even that. Stick to 25 rookies in Series 1, 25 in Series 2, 25 in Update, and 6 per box. Like, right. I think that allows a significant number for production, but also keeps the rookies somewhat limited. You're still getting a good batch of them. It's still possible to build sets and everything, but I don't know. I like how they do that with, 25 in Series 1, 25 in Series 2. And then they could also throw in like how Upper Deck does the canvas, where if there's a big rookie they're holding off for Series 2, have that harder to hit like alternate card type thing where they have the Young Gun canvas over there that still can include them in Series 1 as well. So I just really like how Upper Deck does that.
That would be, and I mean, I didn't count how many rookies on that baseball thing. When I looked at it, they do have the rookies. I know there's more than 25. I think there was more than 25 in the first one, but I don't know how many's left to put into, I call it Series 3 because it's no longer Update. It's just Series 3. But I don't know what they're planning to put in that, because when I looked at the checklist, I was like, holy, I don't know who's left to put into it. I don't, because no big name. I mean, they even have Volpe in it. Which Volpe was kind of surprised to make the opening day roster for the Yankees. So that's the all of those is kind of what we giggling at.
The Greg Oden market.
Yeah.
That was a huge name in basketball that busted.
Yeah, Greg Oden. I've been sorting cards like a maniac, trying to get. So I've been looking at I run into cards of players that, I remember when that guy was supposed to be the shit, and and start laughing and looking at the back of the card, and they had long careers, but they want the all-star or whatever, player that everybody thought they were going to be when they were coming up or when they first started. But let's get back to the National. So, are you going there Wednesday through Sunday again this year, Bobbles? Is that y'all's plan, or?
We were just talking about. I think we check in on the 25th, whatever day that is, and we're there from the 25th through the 30th. I believe is what she said.
Darn, Messes, I should have had you on here tonight.
Dude, she's been doing all the planning. If I do it, then I would screw something up.
Oh, the 25th is Tuesday, actually. So
yeah, so we check in on Tuesday and we're there through the Sunday. So Tuesday to Sunday.
Darn, maybe we'll try to get there Tuesday so we can get in that same prop door again. We got to get Mike here early to get all the Phillies cards.
Got to beat Wesker to the punch.
Got to beat Westergriff, yeah.
You should. Me and him right now are on a tear, buying up the most worthless Phillies autographs you can get. Some very happy eBay sellers lately that
you must have a
like,
hell
wait,
of a Harper
someone
collection.
bought this.
So you're getting there. 25th is actually Tuesday. So is our guy Refractor Jones? Is he going to be with y'all this year?
So we're hoping. We had a couple rooms open up. I don't know if anybody has reached out to her because again, she's been doing all the room planning.
Right.
And I know Refractor said he was not sure. He's been posting more and everything again, so hopefully that's a good sign that he's going to come. But I don't know if he's making alternate plans for a place to stay or if he's going to reach back out because we still have the room available. To my knowledge, there's still like 2 or 3 rooms available that we have in our block reserved. But yeah, I hope he comes in. I know Sean said he's coming. JJ's coming.
JJ is Dominic
James.
James, of course.
What's that? James and Shay will be there.
Okay.
So yeah, a bunch of the people that were in the house last year is also coming this year. So hopefully the whole crew's there again.
Mrs. says there's two available right now. Yeah, y'all reach out to I was in the loop at the beginning. Hey, y'all, I appreciate it, but me and Mike and Ed and me and Dave especially talked about it last year. Dom is coming cool about us trying to stay together a little bit, so that was the route I went. Because I knew we're all going to be hanging out anyway, most likely most nights. Because Thursday night is I'm going to bring it up, is the YouTube hangout. And anybody that's there and listening to any of our channels is more than welcome to come to that hangout. It's not just for the YouTubers themselves. I love to put faces with names. I'm hoping Big Scott comes. I hope Gary's coming this year, but I don't know if you're coming or not. So I know Mrs. will be there. So everybody's invited. So this year, Bobbles, with you kind of cutting back on how you're hobbying, is it more of networking and just kind of hanging out this year more than – because you didn't buy a whole hell of a lot last year. You bought quality. I mean,
let's just say last year I started out before the show even started buying the 33 Gowdy Gehrig. And then, I bought the Larry Doby. And the funny thing is both of those cards I bought off of dealers that I know and deal with at Chantilly. So I kind of told her, like, we were, halfway through the week of the National. I'm like, I bought cards from people I already know that I could have bought from Chantilly. But as far as cutting back, I don't want to say I'm cutting back. I want to say I just haven't been buying as much. Bless you. And
Thank you.
I kind of sat back and I've talked about it before. You guys know this. You get in this stage where you feel like you're constantly buying and you feel that need to always have that mail day, mail day, mail day. And that isn't necessarily what collecting is about. That's just the rush of constantly buying and getting cards in the mail. But there was so much that I've bought and graded and this and that. I was kind of letting it slip away. It was like coming in, you open it, cool, I got this now. You share it with some folks, you throw it in a drawer, and it's like, boom, it's gone.
Right.
Now I've been able to, if y'all have noticed and you watch, when I do the previews or the reveals or whatever, I have that display in the background, and I actually change that up every so often because now I'm getting a mixture of cards that I can put out and enjoy and all of that, and they're not just
What's
getting
up, Eloy?
tossed in a box. So it's not that I've quit hobbying or cut back hobbying. I just have cut back buying.
Right.
And I also, the boom allowed me to sit and reflect on when did I have the most fun collecting cards. And it was actually pre-boom when I was only focusing really on the players and the teams I liked. Like Mike, I guarantee the answer if this question was posed to you, what do you enjoy most collecting? It's going to be your Philadelphia Phillies. You can see the passion when you're talking about your Phillies collection, whether it's a 2023 card or a 1800s card. You enjoy tracking down those Phillies players and that the history of that team. That's what's important to you. And I think for most collectors, they can collect everything, but there is still something like with you, Big Scott. It's your Alonzos and your Gary Carters, or you even collect video games or Star Wars, but you have specific elements that mean the most to you. And buying the other stuff, it's fun, but it doesn't mean as much.
Right.
And I think that's basically where I'm at right now is just reeling it back in and to what I actually love, not just everything to have an envelope in the mailbox. So,
Right. And I just from what I've met you and watching how the love or the thrill of the hunt and the flip, you get a lot of enjoyment out of it and the successes of that. And that's part of the hobby as well. I mean, I'm not one to sit there and poo poo on the flippers. We need them to buy the singles, uh, and all of
to
that.
to stop you real quick though,
And you're not a flipper, I know that, but I'm just using that term.
I actually, when I go to shows, and she can vouch for this 100%. James can vouch for this 100%. When I go to a show, I get engulfed in cards I like. I
Yeah.
don't
Oh, I
go
know that.
like I struggle to go look for something with the intent to buy it to flip it. When I sat with Dave, you had him on Dave's Midlife Crisis. When I sat with him
Yep.
that Friday and we were digging through value boxes,
Uh-huh.
there was a bunch of cards I bought with the intention to flip, and I still have them because they were just cool cards. Like I was going through it the other day. I was like, I've had these things sitting in this box for almost a year now, and I've done nothing with them because there was like cool 90 inserts and stuff like that, and I just didn't want to let them go. So I struggle when I go to a show to get into that. Well, I can buy this and I know I can make money off of it because that's not what I go to shows for.
Yep.
That's also why the reselling thing has become a lot of fun because I can get in that element and go out and pick
Well,
stuff and be like, there's
that's what I was getting at was like you
yeah,
got out of that to go into selling
uh,
1990s baseball hats or football hats
yep,
or whatever you can find, Russian
yep.
dolls, whatever it is you can find at these,
That
out
it's
in
a
the
lot of
wild.
fun. Yep,
Right. And I the enthusiasm you have, and I think that was the point I was trying to get at, and I made it very poorly, of course. But Mrs. Bobbles, she brought up a great point. My favorite thing about last national was all of us helping James complete
yep.
a set and all that joy. That yeah, and I talked about that last week. Was um, you know, being there in a group, we automatically had 11 people in a group chat looking for certain things. We would talk in the house and go, and everybody knew what everybody was looking for.
Mm-hmm.
And when our phones were working,
Yeah,
we could have those group chats. And I telling people, I'm going to try to get as many. Y'all need. I'm going to be still in that group chat this year. I don't care if I'm staying with you or not. Y'all know what I look for, especially Sean. Me and him talked a lot last year. Me and Mike always in Ed and Dave or got one. I mean, many of those I can. So I wasn't in a group chat with the Misfits, but some of those guys know I like Clemente. It took me right to a guy that was selling nothing but Clemente stuff. Make sure you talk to people and let them know, hey, when you're having those conversations about the hobby, that you're making those friendships, to let them know what you're looking for so they can help you. Or they might even have a connection to get some of that stuff. Wake up, Mike.
No, I just saw a notification. Matt Olson hit another 2-run homer. So
yeah, and it wasn't.
I mean, you were gonna win our fantasy matchup anyway, but that definitely.
If I got extra points for distance, I would have really.
It's gonna be a little on the lopsided. So, congrats to Big Scott 35.
You had mentioned the non-sport stuff and the release of the Topps Chrome Sapphire Star Wars. Actually, funny enough, reminded me, and this is something that I will be looking for. I was working on last year's set, and then I put it in order, and printed out the checklist, marked it all off what I had, put it in a box, and I set it in the closet back there, and I forgot I was working on the set. So that's something I would like to pick back up and try to complete. I am mad that they didn't do Series 3 and Series 4 in this one, and that they just jumped to a whole nother year. But I would still like to complete that set because they're pretty awesome cards. So
and so are you this year making a list of cards you're looking for, or an idea of what? I mean, this is going to be such a huge place that we should be able to find anything that we're looking for. My problem is a lot of stuff I'm looking for vintage, and me and you are in the kind of same boat. We want to spend more hobby dollars, so we got to get nice, low grade stuff. And at these shows, it seems to be tough to find those because everybody wants to pull out their 9s and 10s.
Well,
so
it's also a case. I'm in a group on Facebook of a dealer that will actually be at the National. He's who I bought my Garrick from. Yeah. And that's how I got the Garrick, actually. He had posted it in there.
I should have bought a couple of Campanella from him last year at the Chantilly show.
But that guy, Dave, it's tough for me to pay the price on some dealers because I know I can get stuff from him more in the range I'm looking for. If I had to pick a vintage card that I would need to add or whatever that's pricey, I guess you could say, I still don't have a 48 Stan Musial, 48 Bowman Stan Musial. Mm-hmm. That's also a set that I've contemplated working on, the first Bowman set, because it's not a big set and it does have several Hall of Fame rookies in it. I have Yogi's, and I have a couple other ones from it, but yeah, I mean, on the vintage side, that would be one if I found one at the right price. Other than that, as far as a list, I probably will bring the Topps Hall of Fame rookie list that I still need with me to look for those. And then probably value box dive for like Griffies I don't have, or my two main PC baseball guys you don't really see out at tables, and that's Michael Taylor and Victor Robles. I mean, nobody's really putting those in their display cases.
You can find some Victors in the value boxes.
Exactly. So they're not display case guys. Jason Robertson, y'all know I collect him. It's no secret. But you mentioned there's not a lot of hockey. So there's some things that if I can find it, I definitely would pick it up. And like if I found a nice looking Musial at a good price, I'd probably pick it up. But I knocked a lot off my list last year. I got my Jim Brown auto. Mm-hmm.
Which that was smart move getting it then.
I got the Larry Doby rookie. I got the
There you go,
33 Gehrig.
Mrs. Got somebody on Mrs. side.
Well, I'm not even going to go into that. I'm looking for the bobbleheads. There's two more I need to get for, and their fan base has been kind of funny because there was hardly any listed, and the ones that were priced high, and now they're a bunch being listed and they're coming down. So, but yeah, I mean, there's things I'll be looking for. I'm not gonna go hog wild. We also, I've never been to Chicago, even though I lived in Indiana for like what 12, 13 years. I never went up to Chicago, so we also kind of want to take it for more than just the show. We want to kind of explore the city a little bit too, and get that experience as well. So
yeah, there's quite a. I've heard some of that from more and more people this year. I don't know if that's just because it's in a city that it's in or what, but I've heard more and more of that, especially from couples this year.
Well, if it was AC, we're not going to be like, yeah, we want to go. Nah, hell no. Chicago, a little different.
Walking down some streets.
Hell, we had that. What was that? A Friday night? We had that.
Oh, that
street
was
ball tournament that
was awesome. But
it's like, what the hell is going on?
I tell you what, those young people were respectful for that neighborhood. As soon as the lights went out, they left, didn't make noise. They're out, and they kept it clean. And I was like, hey, they did it right here.
But they were having a hell of a street ball tournament, though.
Yeah, and it was like something like, old school and
from White Man Can't Jump.
Yeah, I was like, this is pretty cool. I wanted to walk down there, but thought better of it. Just watched it from our porch there. But we've been here for an hour, so this is about where I like to keep it. Any closing statements? Anything we're looking forward to? Anything we just want to speak on before we get out of here?
I mean, we got less than, what did she say, 57 days?
57 days.
Hopefully a lot of the crew is back. I got to see Mike, give him a parking pass last year. I won't have one this year, Mike, because I'm not going. I learned a lesson last year. I'm not buying that big ass expensive package that I didn't even need.
I appreciate that parking pass.
I need a parking pass.
Made good use because the parking sucked. But no, I mean, we learned lessons last year. Hell, we might Uber this year because it just made it so much simpler.
Right, and they're getting in and out. It's not terrible, but it's not easy either. They have police out there.
Yeah, I mean, I think there's a lot of people, obviously, who walk to their hotel because they're so close. But maybe this year, with more people being spread out because of the more limited rooms, the Ubers, they kind of loop into that little area. So sometimes you got people hopping into the wrong Ubers and all that crap seems to go on. So maybe you're better off walking a block down and then grabbing one.
Here's a question. So the last time that it was at Chicago was in the peak of the boom, and everybody talked about how massive the show was and the trade nights and the lobbies and like all of that. Now that things are kind of settled, but we still have a strong audience in the hobby, do you see it just as crazy as then? Crazier? Or do you think things will be a touch settled this year?
I don't think it'll be crazier.
Do you see more sales or buys?
I don't think it's going to be crazier for like the after at night, but I think it's going to be just as much going on.
I would think it would be close because even last year, AC was like those trade nights were off the charts, and it was Atlantic City, which was.
And that what I saw
Atlantic City.
Friday night in Chicago, it can't get any crazier than that. It just.
I think it's also there's so many new people in the hobby who. Like you always hear people talk like they'll be like, "Oh, I'm a collector," or I'm a dealer, or I'm a flipper. Like people trying to identify other people. Like that guy's a flipper, that guy's a collector. I think the newer people, like especially the younger people, they
What's up,
are
Colin?
like they collect, but they also sell, and they just like I think that's just the way they go. And I think you're going to see a big presence of that, and they're going to be looking to buy and sell stuff. So I think they're going to obviously make use of those trade nights. You know, it's not just going to be Pelican cases on the cases and in your way at the show. It's going to be them setting up at these trade nights, and they'll be constant. And there might be some good opportunities to buy some stuff there too. Even there might be people looking.
We need to come up
with
a title for a new category. Instead of hybrid, we got to pick which hybrid people in the hobby are. A Prius or whatever. We got to figure it out. We got to come up with a new title for it, and it can't just be hybrid anymore.
Yeah, I think it will be. I think it's going to be. This is my fear, though. A part of me, it's going to be so big, and I've heard a lot of people are kind of backing out of not going. That it's not going to be. It's going to be so big. It's not going to look like it's as many people there because it's going to be so spread out. Now, is that a bad thing for a collector like me? It's not. I walk around la la la, but I don't think the national wants that to happen, but that's my only little thought.
I mean, it should be a lot of competition in there. So if you have certain pre-war stuff where you're the only one that has it, guys aren't going to budge on prices. But maybe with wax, maybe with the newer singles, maybe the little more competition, create some lower prices or just more negotiations. So we'll see.
Well, with that, I just want to thank Bobbles and Mrs. Bobbles, everything y'all do in the hobby, especially when it comes to things like this. Mrs. Bobbles, the people that are going, you're not going to want for anything. I'm sure she'll make sure y'all are taken care of. I hope to see all of y'all there. We'll hang out, and it'll be, I hope to see all that group again. Sean, James, JJ, Dom, great group, and Refractor. Love listening to Refractor's stories. So next week, haven't had anybody scheduled yet. I'm going to reach out to a couple of people. I have some people that want to come on and keep it going. I have a wedding on Saturday, so I'm going to try to get back to do it Sunday night. But we'll see. And I'm just kind of playing it by ear right now. So until next time, like, share. Welcome to the I did get some new subscribers this week. Welcome to y'all. Until next time, see ya.